I can if you can hear me.
Yeah.
So Mexico, you said you need the paternal and maternal name?
That's right. Yeah. And so
Interesting. What's the reasoning for that? Do you know?
Well, it's just the law, I
The
guess.
way it is.
Yeah, and so the last name is Gonzalez and Given. So her Mexican name is Natalia Rene Gonzalez Given.
Okay.
And so when I was registering the business, I was like, man, I don't know what's, and then I just start throwing some names, and then I just, my daughter, I just put the name, the initials, and it just went like that. I was like, oh, Signpost. Initially, I was gonna name the company East Coast Signpost Installations.
Everybody loves the East Coast something, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
it's not super original anymore.
And I'm like, and then at the time, East Coast Lifestyle was coming super strong.
Yeah, you got Lifestyle, East Coast Kicks, East Coast,
yeah,
East
and
Coast
so
everything.
when I actually met, what's his name? Ryan? I think his name is Ryan, or the guy from East Coast. Because I met him at Dalhousie.
East Coast Kicks?
No, the guy from East Coast Lifestyle.
Oh, Alex McLean.
Alex, that's right, Alex McLean.
I think it's McLean. Yeah.
Yes, Alex McLean. And I was like, no, because I don't want to interfere with his name, and I don't want to have any issues. Especially if you're registering for business, and I don't want to have any. So I said, we'll just stick to NRG, and it's just gonna be the number 2, NRG Square.
Right on, man.
Right.
Well, before I forget, I want to give you a little intro. So I wanted to welcome Hector Gonzalez from NRG2 Property Maintenance, and we just got a little background on the naming. So thanks for that, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, yeah, I know we've kind of had to shuffle it around a few times, but you're busy, I'm busy. I mean, I don't like to move stuff around, but life happens, right? And when duty calls, you got to go, and this is kind of just a for fun thing to, make better connections with friends or colleagues or totally brand new people, and the idea is just to get some awareness out there and, bring some more eyes to your business. If we can help out in any way and maybe getting you some more business. I know you guys are pretty well run off your feet, so I don't know if you need more, but
I think we're pretty much, we don't want to be, we already have enough.
Right.
We don't want to monopolize the industry. Having competition is good.
Do you guys have competition? Like, I know there's another, I only ran into one more guy that said he did it.
So there are 2 more guys officially that I know. There are two guys out there, and sometimes in the industry, in the real estate industry, you're gonna have very good friends like yourself.
Yeah.
And you're also gonna have some people that are not agreeing with your business or with the module that you have.
Sure, somebody's gonna complain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so having those 2 other gentlemen out there doing what I'm doing
helps get what you don't want.
Absolutely. It's like, just and actually, you know what? I learned this from the industry because a realtor told me, she said, you know what? You don't have to put up with this. I've dropped off clients too when they are a pain.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, really? I said, yeah. He said, I just canceled the contract with this client because he was just eating up all my time, and he wanted more and more and more.
Yeah.
And so I said, oh, okay. Well, that, I took that to heart, and somebody was just not really being respectful, and I just said, you know what, if I don't really meet up your standards or your expectations, you're more than welcome to go with,
else. Politely just fade away into the background.
And so that actually helped by having those 2 guys out there. I said, they are there, and so.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, like I totally get it. Like, I'm going into my 5th year in May. But the first couple of years, man, were tough. And as a new agent, and I'm sure, like, when you first got going, you'd grab any business you could get. And you'd take abuse. You'd get used. You'd get yelled at, called down, whatever. And you'd just take it.
Yeah.
Because you needed to eat.
That's right.
But now, if we can't mutually come into this arrangement and treat each other with respect and kindness and be reasonable, that I don't have time. I don't need your money now, so I'll just find another client that appreciates the work. Not to sound too crass, but I'm not the one to get walked on,
No, it's not to sound, because somebody said to me, "Well, you sound like a little bit arrogant and whatever." It's not arrogant, and it's not being cocky or whatever. It's we offer other, like NRG2 Property Maintenance offer other services for the same reason, because sometimes if we are gonna offload this client, well, I have some other services that I can do to somebody else that can really appreciate what I'm doing, and it's gonna give me more revenue, and that's why we do, like other services.
Yeah.
We're not just strictly the signpost business.
Yeah.
So we do other services to accommodate the losses of those kind of clients.
Yeah. Before we dive in too deep into what else you do, I'm kind of really curious about, if you don't mind, if we rewind a little bit. We're just talking about winter, and it was hard, and it was cold, and I just, I watch your stories, and every once in a while you're popping back into, is it Cozumel?
Cozumel, yes.
Cozumel, Mexico. Man, it's awfully warm there. What made you come over the East Coast, freeze to death, man? Tell me what brought you over here? Love?
I'm only going, yes. Just a little bit, yes. You know how we are. We're men and sometimes women.
Yeah, we do a lot for them.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's a long story, man. But initially, though, I wanted to, I was living in Cancun in the early 90s. Okay. I'm originally from the Gulf of Mexico, okay? Gulf of Mexico, not Gulf of America.
Yeah, right.
So I'm from the state of Veracruz. And in the early 90s, Cancun was developing, and it was just, there was so much work, construction, and building resorts and everything. And my brother said, you might want to come here and, work in here. And I'm like, sure, give it a try. And I worked with my brother. We worked in construction, and basically we settled in Cancun. He got married. I didn't want to settle in marriage, and at that time I was still young, and I wanted to explore things.
Yeah, man. I lived through my 20s too.
And Cancun was like, oh my goodness!
I bet
it was just booming. Like it was just like so much work and so I basically settled there, and towards the late 90s, early 2000s, I met up somebody. But initially, I wanted to leave Mexico because that lifestyle was getting very. There was I had friends that had AIDS, died of AIDS.
Oh shoot!
And so I wanted to just. Me and another guy, we basically said, you know what, this is not for us. This is not for me. And so at the time in the late 90s, Germany was looking for immigrants.
Germany,
yes. And so was Australia. But at the time, to go to those places, it was easy. It was, early, like it was prior to that September the 11th.
Right. So you could kind of...
Yeah, and to go to Germany, I just jump in with my passport and
just go,
and then just land somewhere where there's construction, and
nobody's asking too many questions.
Not at that time, and so I just the opportunity came in to come here to Halifax, and I was like, don't know anything about Canada and Halifax, it was just, there was nothing. I think when I first came here, I came here in June 98.
It was a lot smaller, eh?
Oh my goodness. It was so small, not very many immigrants. When I came, I met up some other Mexicans, but they were professionals, and I can sense a little bit of kind of like distance. They didn't want to be too close, like too open, sorry.
We kind of already made it. Like we're
a
little cut above, and we don't want to remingle.
Exactly.
That's interesting. You think they'd want to support?
Yeah, but it's understandable. And at the time, I understood, and I can understand now because they were professionals. So one of them was a professor at Dalhousie.
Right.
The other one was a doctor working at the QE2.
Oh, so they were kind of living the hoity-toity lifestyle. Yeah. That's a shame, though.
And so I met up another guy who was an engineer for Irving, and they were in the oil industry, and they were basically they were already set up, and I was just like new, and so I was hungry at that time. I was hungry when I came.
Yeah.
I mean,
You wanted to eat.
well, I wanted to just engage onto something, and it was hard, man. I was moving doors, windows at Happy Harry's,
Okay.
slaving.
Yeah. Like on the sales floor, or were you delivering? Or?
No, I was just basically working in the warehouse.
Okay.
And I just doing that, and I work at Happy Harry's in the warehouse for like, I think it was for like 3 weeks. The last week was when they were not very nice though, and I can understand. There was a lot of prejudice and a lot of.
Did you face a lot of that? I know we talked a couple times, not about the podcast, just like we ran into each other. I think it was at this Tim Hortons here in Sackville.
That's right.
Did you? And like, I pardon my ignorance, because like obviously I don't know the best way to frame it, but I guess some people might say I speak from a place of privilege, because I haven't really ever been discriminated against.
Well,
like, did you find that was like?
I think it was
bad.
At the time there were people, like just like everybody else. You meet up the wrong ignorant,
but like it's just so hard for me to conceptualize, because for me, like I don't think like that.
I know.
I don't like. You're just a guy, you're nice, you're a buddy of mine, also work colleague. Like, I feel like if you're kind, respectable, and a decent human being, like, I don't think you deserve to be judged based on your skin color or where you're from, or...
It was when people see that that you're coming into work and you're not just...
Yeah, especially if you're working.
Right?
You're not just, mooching off the system or something.
Yeah, like I when I came...
Don't get me wrong, though, some people need support.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. But I didn't come here to ask for charity or
that. No, and I didn't mean to.
No. That's it's understandable. I never came like I just, like I said, I was hungry. I wanted to work, and I had my daughter. She was just like a little babe.
You already had her?
Yeah, and my daughter was born here, and I just wanted to just support her and be the father that I didn't have.
So from Happy Harry's to...
Well, no, before we get into that,
okay,
I work in landscaping. I met up a guy, and he was like, "You're from Mexico?" I said, "Yeah." "Mexican?" I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "This guy, my boss, he's American, and he loves Mexican people. And he has a landscaping company." I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah. Call him up." So I called the company, and the secretary she was like, "Well, we're not hiring right now." And I was like, "Okay." Well, so and he told me, he said, "Look," he said, "if you want to get in in any work, you have to be persistent." And I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, call back again and call." And I used to call like sometimes 2-3 times a day. And Mary, she used to live in Timberley. Oh my goodness, she was probably like so mad at me.
You just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah, and so finally she said, "Well, look," he said, "the owner is here on this day if you want to come, and meet up with him and talk to him." So I did, and I went that day, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard you've been calling." And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for work, and I'm pretty much willing to do anything." And he said, "You have license?" I said, "Yeah, I have a license." "Driver's license?" "Yeah." "Do you have this?" And I said, "No, but you tell me what you need, and I can work on it." So he said, "Come over tomorrow." And it was on a Friday. And so put me to work right away with some guys, and yeah, that's how I started.
Never look back.
Never look back. And then I worked for him for 3 years. And he basically, towards the end, he was getting ill because he was already older.
Yeah, he's getting over the hill.
Yes, and something happened, and anyway, the daughter inherited the business, but she had problems
running it
and everything else, and so,
life.
Yeah, and then
we don't gotta get into the details.
Yes, and it was just it just went bad, and I just, at the time, a client of their client said to me, "Hector," he said, "why don't you just start your business? Why don't you just continue doing the services that you've been doing, and we'll pay you directly. And so I was like, well, I don't really know too much about it, but I'm gonna have to check into it. So I checked with some other guys, and they were like, dude, the guy already set you up, and basically, if you want to, you can just do it.
Yeah, because I'm sensing that the daughter wasn't operating.
No, she closed. Basically, the business got shut down.
Right, so you got a bunch of clients sitting in the wind.
And
no landscaper, no
maintenance.
No maintenance.
Yeah. And so I
talk about being in the right place, right time.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Well, let's just do it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I had a little bit of savings, and I bought an old truck, a 1980. I think it was an 88, and I used to call that truck Brutus.
Was it a Dodge Ford?
Ford F-150.
Yeah, 5-speed.
No, I think it was manual, and I think it was 4-speed.
It was a 4-speed manual.
Yes.
Wow.
And anyway,
they don't make them like that no more.
Oh, not anymore, man.
I bet you that was a beast.
Oh yeah, I used to call her Brutus. Yeah. Yes, because it was a Brutus truck, man. That truck, I'm telling you, man, it
put some abuse through it.
Yes, and it was.
I grew up in a lobster fishing village, man. Those guys, they drive nice trucks like you, and they beat them to pieces. It's a shame.
I know. Well, that's those guys. They make more money than me.
Maybe.
The fishing industry, man. It's a very
Dad claims he's never made any money his whole life.
Oh yeah.
He's retired now. Doesn't seem like he's too worried.
I made up over my life doing this what I was doing before. Well, the landscaping, fishermen in the Eastern Shore, and they were.
They're doing all right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those boats are very expensive.
Yeah, Dad had a bigger one there at one point. I forget. It was still used. It was a bit older, and it was a buddy of his, so I think he got a good buy. But yeah, man, like my buddy that used to go. We haven't went in a couple of years, but we go to Quebec snow goose hunting. Well, I say every year, but we haven't went for the last couple of years. And like the last boat that he built new, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago now. It was $1.2 million.
Okay.
I mean, man, I paid $212,000 for this house.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going fishing in a $1.2 million boat.
Yeah. I've worked with.
They got full size appliances, counters, crown molding. It's crazy. It's nuts.
I've worked with. Well, I deliver fishing trawlers in Newfoundland. A guy from Cuba. Actually, my friend. He's my friend. He's an engineer in making those fishing trawlers.
Okay.
And he said to me one day, he said, "You want to deliver some trawlers for me?" And I'm sure. Well, you have experience in driving these trucks and trailers and everything, so.
Well, that'd be big gear.
Oh yeah, these
18-wheelers.
Well, not quite 18-wheeler, but
it
was a fifth wheel with a big long trailer.
Big long gooseneck.
Yeah, and so I went to Newfoundland. My first drive to Newfoundland, I went from Port aux Basques all the way to St. John's.
Oh, gee, because was the other ferry not running then?
No, at the time it was when I went to Newfoundland, I think it was in April, May.
Right.
And
just the Port aux Basques ferry running.
Yes, and it was, and I landed on Port aux Basques, and when I got there, man, there was still snow at that time.
Oh yeah, you probably would get the tail end of it.
And I was a little bit afraid because everybody was like, "You're gonna get hit with the moose, and you're gonna get killed."
Yeah, I've been up there too. I did the boat,
and I did see some moose, and I was just very careful. What an experience, because I didn't know Newfoundland. They don't after 9, I think it was 9 p.m. or something. There was no gas station services. Everything gets shut down.
Oh yeah, some places you got to be careful, man. After like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It's like,
oh yeah, it's dead.
It's not so common anymore, but
That's
like
right.
back then,
Yes.
and like once they've put that, once they made like Sunday shopping. Remember when nobody shopped on Sunday?
That's right.
Everyone was closed.
Yes.
Now everybody's open like way later all week. When it was no Sunday shopping, gee, everything was closed by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was a little bit scared when I got into.
Did you get jammed up? You run out of gas?
Yes.
You did?
Stephenville?
Oh yeah, you're not even halfway there.
No, and it was on the way back, and I didn't have nothing, and I was like, I gotta get some diesel.
How'd you get some diesel?
Well, I had to go over to the police station, and I said, I'm sorry, but I need fuel. And he was like, well, you should have got us up earlier. And I'm like, well, I need your help.
No, thanks, Captain, obviously.
You know.
Should have stopped earlier. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
No.
if I would have
So
knew.
this RCMP officer, he gave me a hand, and he said, well, I know somebody that can. So he called somebody and said, can you sell diesel to this gentleman? And
Would they have a slip tank on the back of their truck?
no, it was actually went to the gas station.
Oh, okay. I just say that because I don't know if you noticed some guys have tanks in the back of their truck. You ever see that?
Yeah.
They call it a slip tank.
Yeah. No, this was we went right to the gas station, and the lady was very nice. She said, "You want anything else?" And I was like, "No, just the."
So they opened up for you.
Yeah, they opened up the gas station, turned the pump on, and
Those Newfoundland folks are really good people.
Yeah, it was. You know what? I'm gonna say half and half though.
Oh.
Yeah, I had an experience in Newfoundland the second time.
Maybe that was from my place of privilege then.
Because the second time when I went with a guy from Cuba, and he was black.
Okay.
And it was just a little bit. I'll just give you a little bit of tidbit. We went over and get a coffee, and the people at the restaurant said, "There's no coffee for you guys." Well, he didn't say guys. He said, "You boys, no coffee for you guys." I was like, "What?"
The guy at Tim Hortons said that? Like
no,
the
it was,
worker?
It was at a coffee shop. Oh, no, not coffee shop. Sorry, it was one of those like those stop restaurants.
Right. Like a
It
Irving
wasn't
Big
Tim
Stop.
Hortons or anything. It was just like it was like a rest stop and
Yeah, like an Irving Big Stop or something.
something like that. But it was not even Irving. It was just and I was like, "Excuse me, we just want 2 cups of coffee. And we just want to get out of here." And anyway, they start spitting, and I was like, "Something's not right." Anyway, so I said to this guy, his name is Michelle, and I said, "Okay, Michelle, let's go. Don't listen to them."
Yeah.
And
Man, that's terrible.
we just jumped in the truck, and we just we just kept going. And he was like, "What's going on?" I said, "Nothing, just ignorance. Just."
He didn't even understand what.
He didn't know because he was from Cuba.
Right. Because he wouldn't have had any exposure to that.
No. And I just said, and he was like, "Well, you want to sell us the coffee?" And I was like, "It's just because we're different." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Look," I said, "just we're going over to Tim Hortons. We're not too far from here.
Yeah. We'll get a coffee somewhere else. Just
chill."
Right. Man, that's nuts. So that was a bit of an adventure. You ended up getting the company, so landscaping company, predominantly from the fella.
That's right.
Picked up his clients. Daughter wasn't able to really make it work. When did you start kind of adding the additional things in? Like what was the process there? Like is one come before the other?
So I started basically from 2003, but it was primarily landscaping services. Until I met in 2003, I think it was 2004. I met a real estate lady. I'm not sure if I should mention the name.
It's whatever you're comfortable with. You don't have to share anything you don't like.
Yeah, and so anyway, she owned her own company, real estate brokerage.
Okay. Is she still around?
Yes, she's still around. And so this guy introduced me to her. He was from a Greek guy. I don't even know what his name is. Yes.
He's still alive?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Grace, I think his name is Grace something.
Yeah, there's so many of us. I meant realtors, but Chris is too. But
yes. So anyway, so she asked him, "Where's this guy?" And he's like, "Oh, this guy is good. This is the one you want." And she was like, "Why?" "Because he does everything, and he's not afraid." And then she was like, so anyway, so she came over and said to me, "You're gonna be working for me. I have over 100 properties, and I need you to maintain them. And I'm gonna set you up with this my assistant, and we work with this lady for multiple years, and then she said, the sign person that we have is not very efficient. That was in 2011, and she said, "Would you like to do it?" And I said, "Sure." Yeah,
So, gee, you haven't been doing the signpost stuff that long, really?
officially, we launched in 2013.
Yeah.
Officially, so that's
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a little while, but like,
Yeah,
But
12
like,
years. Yeah,
relatively speaking, like it's
that's right.
still pretty new.
Yeah, yeah. And so, officially we launched in 2013, and then I just basically sold the landscaping business that I had. I sold it, and I didn't want to be part of it because it's doing landscaping eventually wears you out.
Yeah, I mean, it's manual labor. Like, I know a bit about it. Like, lobster fishing, labor jobs, working in fish processing plants. I mean, it's not the exact same type of work, but it's physical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're lifting up sods.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it in my backyard. I got put pallets in my old Dodge Ram, man. That thing could just about... So lucky I made it home.
And I mean, I'm still doing now and then, but I don't really want to... I don't really... It's just hard work. Like, it's backbreaking.
Mm.
And we just did fix somebody's driveway last week, and just going back to, like, raking gravel and doing things, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is just going back.
You got like PTSD.
Yeah, just flashback,
right?
Just those flashbacks.
What am I doing?
Yeah, but I mean, I just do it because. So when I started doing the post business, I said to the gentleman that I bought the business from, I said, Jerry McCormack was the gentleman that I bought the business from. And so many, some realtors, they really know Jerry McCormack. And I told Jerry, I said, believe me, I said, your business, people are going to be proud that you sold to me, because I'm not going to
tarnish your reputation or your name.
Yes. And I said, like, people are going to be glad that you sold to me, because that's basically what I'm going to make this business, and I'm going to make it my own, but I'm always going to remember that, that you are the one who I bought the business from.
Yeah. So you're going to make it great to pay homage to
yes,
Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jerry was, but basically he sold the business to me, and I, at the time I was new on social media. And so somebody said, why don't you start your own tag? And I'm like, what the heck is a tag?
I don't even know what. Yeah, tell me.
Well,
what year was this?
This was in 2014, a year after. I was like, a tag? What? Anyway, so I went on Dr. Google.
Right.
Type it.
Are you talking like a hashtag?
Yeah, like the
okay.
hashtag,
Yeah.
right?
I got what you're saying now.
And
Yeah.
I was like, how do you make your own hashtag? And they were like,
Just
do
make
these.
it.
Yeah, just make it. So I said, helping your clients help their clients. I was like, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And so some realtors were like, hey, I have one of my clients has a property, and it's he's just transferred to another province, and the property is vacant. Can you take care of it? And I'm like, sure.
What does taking care of a property entail for my own knowledge and the viewers? Like, what lands in that?
Basically,
service?
we take care of the exterior. We don't really do like painting or any of that.
But like snow removal.
The snow removal.
Are you mowing the lawns?
Grass cutting. If they need property checkups.
Yeah, just
inside.
check.
We do the inside.
But you just look.
Yes. So there is, depending on the needs of the client. Because I have actually, we were asked to do an NDA.
Right. Yeah.
So they make us sign an NDA, and this was somebody that we can't say it
We won't
here.
name their name. Yeah.
No,
Well, you had to
it-
sign an NDA. So
Yes, we
yeah.
had. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this was in the South Shore, and
Mhm.
very very posh property, and we had to go, me, my guys, and I told the guys, I said, you guys are gonna do this. Given the scope of the job, if you see something, don't take pictures, nothing. There's security cameras, they're watching us, and we just did the job, and then we did it for about a month and a half. Then I got an email, can you come back, and the contract is yours. I'm like, okay. And they hire us for like 3 years and 3 seasons. And when the owners were coming to the property, they basically want complete privacy. Like complete privacy.
Okay. Like, don't want you around at all.
Yeah, like they basically, when they're there and you happen to be there, you just check that you did the work, but come back when they are not there.
Okay.
And then they were willing to pay for, and I'm like,
Hey, if you're willing to pay and you don't got to interact and you're getting.
yeah, and those are the jobs that honestly I think everybody wants. Like
Oh.
you're getting paid and
You don't got to deal with anybody.
Yeah.
You just do the work.
exactly.
Everybody's happy. You get. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if we'd call it easy money because, I mean, I'm sure the work was hard, but, like, easy in the sense, like, there's no, like, they're not haggling you on the price
right.
or, like, oh, you didn't really do that good or maybe you could do this more
That's
or
right.
better or whatever. And you're like, well, that doesn't fit what we do. And then, so you're removing that whole, like,
Exactly.
you
And
know.
that's honestly, and so that's basically what we do. We help these realtors clients by, and that was the hashtag, helping your clients help their clients.
so that's really your whole jam is like,
That's
you're
basically
helping us. We're putting signposts. We're taking care of
That's
properties.
right.
We're doing snow removal.
Yeah.
But you do some commercial stuff too, right?
Primarily,
Because I've seen you down Sackville Dental and shit.
yes, and I love Sackville, man. Sackville is
Sackville, Sack Vegas, baby. Let's
That's
go. We're
right.
growing up.
Oh my
Fastest growing
goodness.
community in Halifax.
it's honestly, I just don't understand why people sometimes don't want to work in Sackville,
Yes.
because I'm actually, I've been looking for a property here in Sackville, and every time I see one, I said, okay, this one, we put an offer, and then they're like, no, it's sold over,
Shit.
and I'm like, oh, great.
It's a popular spot.
I know it is, and I have friends that work they do similar work to what I'm doing, and I'm like, why don't you just plow in Sackville? There's all kinds of businesses.
Nobody
Why-
wants to do it?
Nobody wants to plow here.
Really?
They go to Bedford, Halifax, Burnside, Dartmouth, and I'm from Dartmouth, and I have to drive
To Sackville.
to Sackville.
And you're kind of a little bit down. I've been to your place there.
Yes.
The boys are putting aside. You're not way back, but you're from here. What is it? 40 minutes probably.
Well, with the new highway now. With
It's
the new
easy.
highway now, I was here to your property here. I was like 27 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, like it's 20 minutes. And if it's not traffic, like 3:00 in the morning, 15 minutes you are in Sackville.
But pre the new connector would have been probably over a half hour. Would have been closer to 40.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're driving through the snow and
Yeah, right. In the winter.
In the
Yeah,
winter.
if you're driving here to plow, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
But like in these clients that we have, they are not new clients. They are. We've been working with Nova Dental for over 15, 17 years.
Nice. Do you guys do like the Sackville Veterinary Clinic too? And
We used to do a lot of strips in a lot of businesses in Sackville Drive, but those businesses have been sold,
different owners.
different owners. So then we send the renewals, ask them if they want us to work with us, and
Nothing back.
nothing back, and no hard feelings.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, you're busy enough.
Yeah, exactly. So if they don't want us, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
We gave you the quote, and
It's a good position to be in, though. When you don't, it'd be nice to have, but if you don't
yeah,
want
it's-
us, then
it's always good to have those snow contracts, because the snow contracts are, I mean, some people don't like to do it. Some contractors, they don't like to do it because of
What's the worst part?
for whatever reason, right? I mean, they have their own reasons why, but I created my own system that it works for me, and it works for our clients, and we just basically work together, and that's it.
What do you feel like the worst part of snow removal is?
Getting up.
I figured that was it. And the sporadicness, like you never really know, like maybe there's a snowstorm coming and you're ready to get up, but you get up and there's nothing.
We just basically, because we have so much experience but we don't get overconfident though. That's what I tell my guys. Let's just not get overconfident. Just because we know what we're doing
doesn't mean we know everything.
That's right. And because winter is very, very tricky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this year it was
one of the worst.
We got about 2 feet of ice.
Oh, man.
And then we had the frost.
Oh.
And
it's miserable. It's cold. Cold.
Yeah, this was the first winter. Sometimes, I feel like I have a fist in my throat.
Because it's so dry?
No, it's just because it's some sort of level of anxiety.
Oh.
Because you're like, how am I going to get this work done?
Right. Because it's so miserable out.
Yeah. And then you just start punching, and then you're like, you know what? Let's just punch through. Do what I just tell my guys, this is what we're going to do. This is the game plan. And let's just execute and see where it goes. And then if it doesn't work, and at the end of the day, 3 hours, 4 hours later, we're into the job, and you're like, we're getting it done. So,
Yeah, Hector, I go by this saying, and I've said it a few times, I think, on the podcast, but it's something I live by. And I think there's two kinds of people in the world. There's those that believe they can, and those that believe they can't. And they're both right. Yeah. You just got to decide which one you are. Yeah. So if you guys are the guys that are just going in and we're going to punch it through anyway, then you guys are the can-do people, right? And that's the only way to be in my mind.
Yeah, and sometimes winter is just like nature. It just throws everything at you.
Yeah.
Water, ice, cold weather.
Wind.
The wind. Blackouts in the middle of the winter. That's one of the things I learned, is you have to have a super reliable vehicle. Lighting is very important when you are in the middle at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's just all of a sudden you got nothing but just wind, and the wind is just
yeah,
and it's just, and you don't have any lights, and you're like, where am I going?
Right, you can't even tell if you're on the road, if you're in the parking lot. Yeah, it's miserable.
Safety is very, very very crucial, especially when you have guys working outside out of the truck, shoveling. And we had an incident last year and a half ago. Somebody was delivering food, and the guy we were in the parking lot, the guy hit something, and the car landed underneath in behind the salt box.
What?
Yeah.
He came up
over the sidewalk and went into the parking lot, and what is the chances or the irony? The truck was parked there, and I was just doing a video for my guys and the work that we were doing, and I just heard the big bang. Yes.
And he's just jammed under the back of your truck?
Underneath the salt box, and there's a big metal bracket, probably I think it's about 1.5 inches thick, because of the weight that we carry and everything. So it has to, I told the guy, the welder, make sure that it's nice and strong and solid. I don't want to have any issues. And so barely bent that, but his hood, the car is basically
just like a sardine, peeled it open, right?
Pretty much. Yes. And I was like, oh man. And I was like, what the heck did you do? And he was like, anyway, it's just, he lost control of the vehicle, and yeah. But those things happen, like accidents.
Oh yeah. I mean, no fault of anybody's, but you got to be ready for anything. Though.
And so the safety of the guys, myself, we have to be. We're always on the lookout for things that can potentially harm
Yeah, you kind of gotta have your head on a swivel. Like you gotta
pretty
always,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
keep an eye.
And then like the technology now today, like it helps to have backup cameras.
Yeah,
And
the lane assist and the lights in
every
the mirrors to tell you if
ev-
somebody's in your blind spot.
everything. And honestly, those things come in effect, or they do help you a lot
Oh yeah,
in these kind of situations when you are on your own and you're like, man, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't see the hood, the
yeah.
front of the plow.
And you're not thinking. You're just the folks in here. You're not looking, doing your checks.
That's right.
You're maybe half asleep. It's
Yeah.
it's early. It's
Yeah.
no fault of anybody's. It's early
Yeah.
time. What do you feel's been like the biggest determining factor to your business's success? Like since you got going, is it just been kind of your I'm just gonna get through this attitude, or
No, I think you have you have to have a plan.
That is true.
You have to have.
If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail.
That's right. So, I was listening to somebody the other day saying, what's the difference between a goal and processes? And I was like,
It's a good question.
yeah, and I was like, a goal and processes.
I guess the goal, and you tell me after, but if I'm just my quick first thought is like, the goal is the end product, and the process is how you're gonna get there.
That's right. And so I was like, well, I mean, yes, you have a goal to your destination is there. That's the goal. But how do you get there? Right?
And that's the process.
And that's the process. And so over the years, I mean, I met clients that are very, very good and they are willing to help. I met financial advisors, accountants, people that are in businesses like myself, but they have bigger businesses, and they are willing to give you a little bit of like tidbits and say, Hector, you got to do this.
Yeah, good people.
Right. And among all the bad people that I met, you meet these people, and honestly, they have been a good influence to me. In the way my business has been operating. Yeah, like I was talking to a guy, a financial advisor, and he was telling me, he said, Hector, he said, let me help you with something. And I was like, okay, well, give me some numbers. And I was like, okay, so this is what I'm doing, and this is what I like to do. He's like, okay, well, why don't you just, because before I was afraid to buy brand new vehicles.
Yeah, why was that?
Well, I was afraid because I didn't want to have these
big payments.
That's right, these liabilities, and then but then this guy helped me see something, and I was like, I'm spending this much money on repairs. And
I grow up in a place where fishermen back home, they'll fix something 10 times before they'll buy new. Because for them, it's like, oh, well, it's just a little bit here, a little bit here. But over the year, if you had to repair something, just say 10 times.
Yeah.
Like you might have been able to buy it new 1.5 times. Because to them, everything's an expense. Nothing's an investment. Mm-hmm. At least like, and don't get me wrong, Dad was, he ran 2 businesses. He worked hard. But some of the business acumen wasn't there. And, he might, I don't know if he watches this, he might not appreciate that. But everything was an expense. Nothing was an asset or an investment to him. So any payments, bad.
Yeah. So anyway, so then this guy helped me see that. And I was like, you know what? And then he said to me, what is more important to have? $10,000 in your bank account, or somebody calling you and say, you know what, you were not very responsible because you told me this, and you are very responsible. What I know about you and the way the way you work and everything, you're very responsible, and this is what Canadians want. And so I was like, you know what? And he helped me see things that I was like, dude, this guy
he knows what's up.
He knows what's up, right? And so I said, well, let's. And then I bought a truck, and I was like, oh man, it feels good, and start feeling.
You got some nice rigs now, too.
Yeah. So anyway,
you're not scared anymore.
And I was like, you know what? And then I was like, and then I was just setting up money, and I was just worried about payment all the time. And then I went back to him, and he said, look, I'm gonna give you another free tidbit, but the next one is gonna cost you.
Okay.
So he said, just create process the way you want things to. and write things down. Don't be afraid. And I was like, okay. And that's basically, and then I just went on Google. I actually, before I went to Google, I went over to the library and I got some books, and I just create how to create processes in business, and, business 101, small businesses for dummies. And
That's awesome.
And then I was like, yeah. And then that's how I just create processes. And I just built, I met somebody and they were like, you know what, I can build your website. And I was like, sure, go ahead.
Perfect.
Let's do it. And one year we were having a very, very tough year. I think it was in 2014. It was a recession in Canada. And we were doing the signpost business. And it was bad because I said to this person, I said, if this goes bad, I only have enough money to survive for like 3 months. And he's like, well, you're doing well. I was like, what? Yeah, 3 months. That's good.
Yeah, most people can't get to next week.
And then he said, no, you're doing awesome. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Just now add another 2 more months. I was like, what? Yeah. If this goes bad, you're going to be 5 months. What are you going to do? I said, well, I'll go to McDonald's or work at Tim Hortons, whatever I have to do to make these payments for this vehicle. And they're like, okay, well, then that's it. But I mean, I never went.
Yeah. You just kept hammering. Yeah.
Yeah. And and it was a bad year, but we, the real estate held. We just kept on going. And I've learned from that I always have to have a reserve. 2014, I think, for some realtors. I mean, some realtors that are that they've been in this industry for a long time, they will know that 2014 was a bad year.
Was it bad?
It was bad because there was a recession in Canada.
Yeah, it definitely was. I do remember. I mean, I was a bit younger, maybe didn't feel it as much, but and I wasn't in real estate in 2014, so.
Yeah, 2014 was some realtors. I met some people that went. I felt kind of bad though.
They exited the business.
Yes, and but I mean, we came 2022 and 21. What an amazing year for everybody.
Yeah, it was a little tough for me. I was just kind of getting into it there in May of 2021, so I didn't really have established clients, and if I'm being honest, I didn't have a process. So I had these ideas and these goals, but I had no process to get to them.
And that's one of the things that I tell sometimes the new realtors. I just tell them, like, you just have to have a goal, have some sort of process and how you want to do things. If you have assistants, just tell them what you're looking for to them to do. Just tell them this is the way I'm gonna be. This is the way I process my business, and I want to sell, I don't know, 25 million, 100 million, whatever you want to sell in real estate. But you have that process.
Yeah.
And now it's your job to hustle and get those clients.
Yeah, and for me, man, I never had a problem hustling, and naively, I have a business degree from SMU, St. Mary's University, majored in marketing. I worked 8.5 years for a tier 1, consumer packaged goods company. So Unilever, they own a bunch of different products. So, I thought I'll get this going like that. But working for a big business like that, I was only responsible for a small part, which was the sales and the distribution and the relationships and the accounts, so a lot of it was relationship management. When it comes to the actual process of getting the product to the store, I knew the trucks would pick it up from Agripur and go to our warehouse and get it, and then the orders would come in and they go to the store, but I wasn't involved in any of that. So to build, building a process, a business plan per se, was fairly new to me. And the first couple of years, I was just spinning my wheels. I mean, they give me a pretty decent lump sum of money when they let me go, non-performance related, but doesn't help any, still hurts. But when I met Naz Claymie from Remax, then I realized what process I needed. And he took me on as a mentor when I moved. I started at Royal. No digs to them. I might have did them a disservice, but I think it was just the times, the pandemic. Everybody was learning new ways of working. But anyway,
I met you at Royal. Yeah, I remember.
yeah,
Yes.
and you know, it was a struggle all around, like for just everybody and me personally, trying to, you know, getting let go from a job that I give 8.5 years of my best, what I considered my best work, and starting from zero and trying to find the motivation with everything that was going on to make it happen. And it's like, you know, it's like you don't just start and turn the tap on.
That's right. Yeah.
It doesn't even drip for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's
And
a lot.
it's hard though.
It's tough.
It's very, very difficult.
So for new folks or young men and women looking to maybe they don't want to go the corporate route, maybe they want to start their own business, what advice would you have for them? And maybe what do you feel would be like the main things holding them back? Do you think it all comes back to process, or, you know, what would help them become successful with like what you know from where you've come from to where you've got today?
I basically tell everybody, because sometimes through the immigration association, I've gone over to give talks.
So you're giving back too.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So as an immigrant, don't be afraid. You will have challenges in this country, in the way you're dealing with people. There are resources out there that are amazing. The social media is right now it's very powerful.
It's crazy
if you do it right. I'm still learning though. I'm not.
You have good social media though.
I'm still struggling seeing other people succeed.
Comparison's the thief of joy.
Yeah, and I'm like, like I have ideas, but I basically tell everybody, like, don't be afraid. When I started, I had to go to the library and get books. I had to ask people, like, how do you do these? What do you think of these? And so it is challenging because to this day, I don't have a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, you are not going to get paid. And you said it earlier, like the water is not dripping.
Yeah.
The water is not flowing.
It's taking a while to get that.
Oh yeah.
Get that drip out. Get a little payday.
That's right. And so those are challenges that, man, I'm telling you, it's hard to overcome because
it is, man. I thought about quitting, man, so many times.
Yeah, because you don't have a pay.
Yeah. If I didn't have my wife, I've said it a few times, like if I didn't have my wife, hard to say if we'd be sitting here today.
Yeah, you do have to have a secondary source of income.
Support.
And
I think my wife believed in me more than I did.
Oh, that's good.
I think you need them to believe in you.
If you have a partner that can support you, you guarantee that you're going to make it.
Yeah, and I'm not ashamed, like, every realtor that's ever done it, the first couple of years, and don't get me wrong, I know some younger realtors that got in and started doing really well. I'll be the first one to admit my first couple of years, I didn't do what I should have been doing. And I think that was just for whatever I was going through. That was my own problem. But yeah, man, like my wife paid the bills for a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean,
didn't complain. Didn't say, I'm the one pulling. We don't got no hair, but I was pulling my hair out trying to figure out how to make this go. And, I was like, man, Caitlin, I was like, geez, do you think I'm working hard enough? She's like, Chris, I cannot possibly imagine that you could work any harder.
But, sometimes, well, here's the thing, though. One of the things that I learned is sometimes you don't get any money, but if you're doing other things, so you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of the fort,
right,
the house. And so those are things that if your wife is working or your partner is working, but if you can help in whatever, like, clean the house, make sure that
contribute in that
contribute
sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Contribute to whatever. Like if the house needs to be clean the house. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I guess in my male brain, I was like, if I'm not bringing in money, then I'm not contributing. That was like my broken way of thought process in my head. I don't know. So
this gentleman told me, he said, Hector, if somebody's helping you, you gotta help them back 3 times. Like he said, your wife, if she's the one who's bringing you the bacon
and the ability to go out and try to do what you want to do.
Yeah, so you gotta help 3 times. And so I was like, he was like, you gotta clean the house. So when she comes, she's not coming to a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And when she comes, she's going to come to a nice, comfortable place. And he said, don't be afraid. Give her a glass of wine and say, here, she's the one who's bringing bacon.
So real good perspective.
And he said, don't be afraid to get on your knees and rub her feet. Ask her, how was your day? I know you had a stressful day, and I appreciate what you're doing. Trust me, we're gonna get through it. And and I was like, this guy's very powerful. No wonder this guy is successful. I mean, his business right now is probably worth $75 million, if not more.
Oh wow!
If not more, right?
It's all, and I mean, I've not to say that I wasn't thinking of my wife, but I mean, it's a powerful message, like, to put that, I guess, ego aside and just accept that you're being taken care of. And then
we're guys.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
we don't think like that.
And I'm from Mexico though. And I basically over there, the stereotype that I grew up with is you're the macho man.
Right. Well, it's not too much different over here either. Right.
And so,
or at least where I grew up.
And I'm like, yeah, but those things, I mean, I didn't have a father. So, and basically I grew up on the street though. I had a horrible past.
Yeah. Well, look where you are today though.
And so just always, I like listening to people that are successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if they're successful, if they kind of make sense. Like this guy was like, do what is right. I don't have any degree on anything. I only went to grade 9, but I didn't even finish grade 9 though.
I'll be honest, man. Like, not to say, like, listen, like, if you want to go learn some stuff and you like school and you like university, personally, I think it's the biggest money scam out there. I mean, yeah, listen, we need doctors and health professionals and people need to learn that stuff. But like my business degree from St. Mary's, like, I mean, yeah, I think the main thing for me, I think university can teach young people is to persevere through something and complete it to the end. You're going to learn some basic concepts in the material, sure. But I think overall, university or any schooling, diploma, courses, yeah, it's going to teach you some stuff. But I think the more important part is like you start it and you finish it. See it to the end.
So this gentleman that I was mentioning, he used to give me all kinds of advices because he basically hired me to do the services to his property. And I was very proud though. When I was doing the work for him, he would sometimes I see him coming out and coming into the house and making sure that everything was to his expectations, and sometimes you can tell that sometimes he'll be like something will tick him off because he will go straight to the house, have no desire to talk to me or anybody.
But everybody has bad days.
Exactly, right? And you respect that.
Yeah, nothing probably to do with you guys.
And sometimes he will come and he'll be like, I really like what you did here.
Mm-hmm.
My property looks amazing. My neighbors always comment about you guys doing the work. But he said to me, on occasion, he will stop and say, this is what I need. This is what you need to do. And so when he told me that about about contributing to the house, he also said to me, he said, there are some things that that I wish I had done when I was younger. And I said, okay, what is it? He said, because I went to business school. I'm a businessman, but there are multiple things, multiple answers to these questions, multiple ways of doing things. So look at you, what you just did here. You are doing things in my property that you're doing it in different ways, and I'm learning just by watching you. And I never actually paid attention to what I was doing. I was just doing it
how you knew how.
How I knew how and how to make him happy, right? And he said, because the task has multiple ways of doing it, not just one. The school system only teach you one, like, this is the answer, but there are multiple answers to that.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, and I totally agree. But schools like that, same with the multiple choice. Oh, you picked the wrong one, or whatever. Like, or they misled you because they changed the words around, or the spelling's not quite what it's supposed to. But anyway, I digress. But working for Dad in his boat, there was only one way. It was his way.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, again,
Right?
that's the mentality of the macho man, right?
Yeah.
We're
So,
going-
and I, being me, and, I think I'd always try and look, not that I want to annoy him or make him mad, but I'd be like, well, why can't we do it this way? He's like, because it's my boat and we do it this way. There's really no like, oh, maybe we could do it like that, or that might work, and I mean, listen, he was a hard guy to work for, but he's a great guy. But it was just like, that macho man mentality. It was like, my way, my business. Yeah. You do it the way I want, and never mind if there's another way. We're doing it this way.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I think, like we learn, and we basically, one of the things we learn is that we don't have to have that tunnel vision. Like
I'm happy to look at other ways of working.
We have to have a broad picture and see things different.
You miss a lot of stuff if you're only looking like this.
That's right.
Tunnel.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming out over here, over there.
And like in the real estate industry, you have, I mean, right now it's so huge. Like it's so broad. Like, like when have you heard, well, I mean, realtors were selling commercial real estate, but they're pushing now that aspect of commercial real estate in the last, I'm going to say 5 years or so. That's what I'm noticing. But they always, like there were other companies selling commercial real estate that specifically were just selling, you know what I mean, commercial real estate.
Yeah, specific.
Yeah, and now basically the brokerage is saying, no, you are a realtor and now you can
do it all.
Why do they have to go to that company? And
yeah, because there's no separate license.
That's right.
There's no separate license. Just for some reason, MLS and commercial, like that, you can't. I don't think before the realtors come out in droves and tell me I'm wrong, I don't think you can list a commercial property on MLS if you're not a residential brokerage.
Okay.
Like, and let me put it to you this way. So there's a piece of land my client was interested in, and I don't know if they're really allowed to do this, but the realtors that were representing the client were from Colliers.
Okay.
Commercial brokerage.
Yeah, I know. I put signs for Colliers.
Yeah.
I still put signs for them in CBRE, which is a leasing. I think I don't know if they sell though. But everything it was just those commercial leasing signs.
Yeah, I know those.
I put signs for other leasing companies, but now they're selling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this one was a big piece of land. Colliers listed it. Sorry, Colliers was representing the client, but it was another real estate company that listed it on their behalf.
Okay.
Because I don't think they're not paying the fees to be on MLS and because usually commercial brokerages, they just have their own website, and the commercial listings go there.
Yeah.
So unless you're a Remax or a Royal or a Century 21 and you're doing commercial, like I don't think there's a way for them to access without like paying the membership fees and whatever to get in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure if you technically have to be licensed to sell commercial real estate.
But anyway, the the thing is, like we work with a lot of realtors, and I've seen changes, and I'm like, wow, I didn't see that before, and like.
So you said like before it was like residential brokerages, commercial. Now
I see
everything.
Yeah, like like I've seen agents from Remax selling basically all kinds of businesses, not just houses.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
And I'm like, you go on social media and you're like, so and so is just sold. Congratulations, I just sold my business for
X amount of money. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I haven't ventured into that. I like the residential stuff. The odd, if I, apartments and different things I'd be into, but I'm a pretty big advocate for like mastering something or getting a very good handle on it before I start spreading myself too thin and getting into something else.
And I think, like that's going back to, again, having processes, right? So
Yeah, because if you had a process, you might not be venturing over there because you're focused on the task at hand.
exactly. And so I don't know if I did answer you the suggestions for or advice for a new.
Yeah, like like if you had a couple pieces, I know you got to go and
No. So yeah, so I mean, don't be afraid. The paycheck is not gonna be there, but
yeah, for a bit.
for a bit, but there are all kinds of resources out there, for to starting a business. And I always wanted to start a business selling T-shirt merchandise.
Did you?
Yeah, always. And because I have ideas on how to um I'm a small guy, and
Me too.
every time I go and buy a T-shirt, like it's almost like wearing a
Yeah.
long, they're so long, and I was
Yeah.
like, why can they make a T-shirt that is just like a little bit more shorter?
Yeah, they're discriminating against us short people.
Exactly, right? And so I was like, but then that idea basically went away. Then I had an idea about selling scarves, and I was like, what if I, like a scar or something in the winter? Because I was, and so anyway, but I mean, I have ideas. If you have an idea, like I said, there are tons of resources out there. Just don't be afraid.
Yeah, I think that's a great message. I think I think too many people just stand in the shadows because they're afraid, and they just stay in what they know.
Don't be afraid. I think somebody said something about they broke down the word afraid or something, or fear, and I can't remember exactly what it meant, but in my opinion, or in my advice, is like, just don't be afraid. Just if you have an idea, go for it. You want to be a signpost installer, go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are guys out there doing it as a gig, but if you're gonna stay, be consistent. Because if you're not consistent, then you're gonna call me 2 years later and say, "Hey, Hector, I have an inventory of so many posts, and now I want to get out of this business," because that's usually what happened.
Right.
And I've been consistent though. I've since officially 2013 to today, so that's 12 years. And I have no plans of going anywhere. But like prior to that, my landscaping business, like I stay basically consistent, and that's how I managed to stay in business and doing other services that when I lose a client, I can offset that loss by providing other services. And that's basically how it is. I mean, in the signpost business, we're not well, it's not that we're not allowed, but for safety reasons, in the winter time, we cannot put post during a snowstorm.
Yeah, of course, visibility.
Right? And so I was like, it just makes sense.
I'm not driving in a snowstorm, so why would I
nobody's
expect you?
Nobody's showing a property in the middle of a storm.
I mean, some people might try, but
And
they're crazy.
There's the odd realtor that says, "Oh, I'm going over to show a property." Right?
Yeah, snow or no snow, it's like cool. We'll find you in the ditch. like,
And so
think you're better
so
than me because you're driving in the
basically-
snow.
That's basically why I provide the snow services, because well, why am I gonna stay home and rest? Like, let's just grind, right?
Yeah, man.
And in the summertime,
I love that. Let's just grind.
Let's just grind. You
Yeah,
know?
man.
And so in the summertime, we have the mowing services for. There are military guys that they get transferred all the time.
Right, so they're keeping properties and you're mowing them and they're renting them.
The realtors are basically they're in the process of selling their property, and that's where we step in. I have clients from Dubai, from New York. We just basically, the gentleman decided to keep the house from the States. I think he's from New Orleans or somewhere in Louisiana or somewhere around there. Anyway, we used to go and just check the do the security for them, security services.
Just check in.
Go inside the house. It's like a row of townhouses that they own, and we go in, we check the property, make sure that everything is flowing, just check the
Yeah, no squatters in there.
exactly the rats. There's problems in Halifax right now with rats
Yeah.
getting inside the properties, and just checking that, making sure that everything is flowing normal.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the services that we offer. And again, by having those services, it kind of offsets those losses when we lose a client, a realtor that is very active, for whatever reason. They want to adventure services with
Yeah, some
somewhere.
people think the grass is greener somewhere else.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't get upset.
Yeah, I used to get upset a little bit and take it personal too if like my friends didn't use me as their realtor, or you know, things didn't work out or whatever, but it's like I think it was just like wanting to get the business going so bad that it maybe just like, an immature new business owner, we'll call it. I just took everything a little bit too much to heart, I think. That was like one of my learnings. It's like you just got to it's like my buddy Don Rainey tells me, he's like, just like a baseball player, like you strike out, just got to let it roll off your back, and you got to get back out there and get back to the plate and start swinging again. Like you can't let some guy or gal that like either mistreated you or didn't use you ruin your day, because at the end of the day, they're nothing. It's that's one person. Yeah, man. Well, listen, I know you're a busy fella. I got to get back out there. Where's the best place if people need property services? Where do they find you?
So basically, you go directly to our website.
Is
NRG,
it just
NRG2PropertyMaintenance.com, and just send a request through info or sign request services.
nice? I just
there.
text you. Should I be doing it through the website?
Whatever is easier. I just tell
I
everybody.
just go right to the source.
I just tell everybody, like whatever is easier. I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And we built the website primarily for everybody to see, but there are some realtors out there though that they have amazing process and they have assistants. There's one realtor that have 2 assistants. And this particular realtor is very busy, and I can understand, and the assistants, they love the website services because they can just submit everything. They don't have to talk to anything.
Yeah, I guess they wouldn't have this relationship either, so they just clickety clack book it.
That's right, and so it works for them. The assistants, for real estate assistants, the website works amazing.
Nice.
And that's the feedback I get all the time. I was at a brokerage yesterday, and one of the assistants was like, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Thank you."
That's awesome.
And so that's honestly the feedback is it's positive.
And you can book anything: signpost installs, snow
You can
removal,
You can book
lawn
anything.
mowing.
Anything. If we just basically will reply back and say, yeah, we'll want to go and check the property if it fits within our services that we can provide. Yeah. If not,
Very good.
If not, we will advise to somebody else. But honestly, most of the time that it's very, very slim. Like we don't give the client to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to, but really, we don't really.
Yeah, you're not handing off anything too much.
No, we pretty much.
Yeah,
we just do
you can adapt.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been a great chat. I've been looking forward to it. I guess we'll sign it off with, for those of you that were watching, don't be afraid. Do your processes and just grind.
Just grind every day.
That's it, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll see you out there.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks.